We're going to start today's episode by checking in on the June like battle, and unfortunately, we're down. Pretty big. Less than 100, that's a win, but 96, not great. I need you guys, Falcons fans. If you hate the Saints, if you love the Falcons, that's two great reasons to hit that thumbs up button. If you want another one, it's free. Okay, 3 great reasons right there. Do me one big favor and like today's video. Let's talk about James Pearce Jr., the guy that dominated rumor mills prior to the 2025 NFL draft because of a lack of belief in his character. Well, apparently, everything that's come out over the last couple of weeks is pointing to James Pearce Jr. having a great personality and is pointing to everything that was said about him, all of the headlines, all of the chatter, as something really, really confusing. Because so far, since he's come to Atlanta, since he's been with the Falcons, there has been nothing but wonderful things said about James Pearce Jr., not just on the field, which he's gotten a lot of buzz on the field, but in the locker room and off the field as well. Let's talk about those headlines for a second, because everything that you heard about him, it seemed like it was something to kind of tank the draft stock. Here's one from prior to the draft. What did James Pearce Jr. do? Explaining Tennessee Star's legal troubles and other red flags. It did not stop there. This one came after the draft. Falcons' James Pearce reportedly was off multiple NFL draft boards over maturity. The next one is, would Lions take a risk on, quote, worst character report? Prospect James Pearce Jr. And then this one, about a month and a half prior, James Pearce Jr. responds to character criticism ahead of the NFL draft. And then, why are the Falcons comfortable with James Pearce Jr. despite off-field questions? Atlanta Falcons first-round pick James Pearce Jr. has generated concerns about his on-field drive and maturity. And from where we're standing right now, everything through OTAs, rookie minicamp, mandatory minicamp, it seems like James Pearce Jr. is proving them wrong. And if that's the case, the fact that he fell all the way down to 27 is nothing, or sorry, even later than that. Or no, 26, correctly? Yeah. Is nothing but phenomenal news for Falcons fans. How lucky are we that a guy who was most likely going to get taken in the top 15, you trade back in for him. You take a risk by selecting him. Take a risk with the, character rumors and character reports. And so far, you don't see anything that kind of makes you want to bat an eye or two. Daniel Flick had a lot to say about Raheem Morris's opinion and thoughts on James Pearce Jr. Falcons head coach Raheem Morris acknowledged Pearce is not great in media or public environments where there's too many people and too many eyes on him. But the Falcons don't need Pearce to be a spokesperson. They need him to pressure opposing quarterbacks and benefit their locker room. And Pearce, no matter how short-winded, hasn't let the Falcons down. The Falcons did a lot of research on James Pearce Jr., right? There's a reason that they felt comfortable enough to spend a first-round draft pick on him. And what they found was just what Raheem Morris had said there. He's not a guy who's standoffish. He's not a guy who's immature. He's just a guy that's different than you or me, myself especially, who talks in front of a camera for a living. He doesn't like it. And that's okay. You don't need him to like it. What you need him to like is putting his shoulder into opposing quarterbacks. And guess what? He freaking loves that. And clearly, the Falcons like what they saw in him, or else they wouldn't have traded back into the first round. They already selected a defensive stud, but that wasn't good enough for them because at pick 26, there was another one still available. Right? They felt good enough to give up a first-round pick in 2026, their second rounder in 2025, the seventh rounder in 2025 as well. They felt like the research they had done and the luck they had had with him still being there was enough of a 1 + 1 = 2 to go ahead, pull the trigger, and make the call. The head honcho, Raheem Morris, has said a lot of really great things about James Pearce Jr. so far through these past couple of weeks as off-season practices. He went on to say his buy-in, really smart, sharp, articulate guy, asks a lot of questions. One of those guys that's going to be very intentional about how he speaks to you. So when he's talking to you, he's going to talk direct. He's going to look you in the eye. When you are with him, intentional, direct, you get the best out of him. So the concerns are, as we're seeing right now, that he's just ultra-focused. That's it? Like, okay, I'll live with that. Guess what? Producer Reed's concerns are is that he's too good a producer. My concerns are I'm too dashingly handsome and too funny. Like, these are phenomenal things, okay? So if that's what we've heard from James Pearce so far, then it's time to dash the fact that these are concerns. Because right now, I think they're just strengths. They might be different than you and me, and that's why it might come off as a concern, but at the end of the day, it obviously has benefited him enough to get him in the spot where he is. Travis May tweeted this out just around draft time, saying the only edge defender in the class with back-to-back seasons of 20% and over pass rush pressure and win rates via multiple charting services. The kind of profile was always going round one despite any mild character concerns. Good for James Pearce Jr. He was dominant, flat out. And being a Tennessee Volunteer alum, I know it's surprising because the last Peterson you had on this channel was also a Tennessee Volunteer alum. I got to watch every single snap of James Pearce Jr.'s career, and I absolutely loved it, okay? Now, he took a little bit of a dip in production when it came to sacks this year, but I think you can chalk that up to the fact that he was so dominant in 2023 that every single offensive line that he faced in 2024 said, okay, we're fine with everybody else around him. If it's Omar Norman Lott that has to beat us, it's Omar Norman Lott, okay? If it's Big O, it's Big O, but not James Pearce Jr. And he still got to the quarterback 7.5 times with 55 pressures, okay? If there are character concerns, if we're talking about concerns, the fact, in my opinion, that someone this good can fall out of round one in mock drafts and almost in the real thing is a concern of itself. And it's a benefit to Atlanta. And I think at this point, we need to stand here, not harping on the past, not harping at any reports, just looking forward to the future and saying the risk that you took so far is paying off. Because the only downside to his game was the fact that there were a little bit of question marks. And it seems that he's answering those so far in minicamp. And then you talk about the play on the field, and you look at the play on the field, and it is everything you would have hoped it was. And Raheem Morris talked a little bit about how he's similar to another player on this defense, A.J. Terrell. Two guys who aren't loud, they're not obnoxious, they're not in-your-face leaders of the team. They're more background characters. Still do their jobs well, but tend to keep to themselves. And because of that, Raheem Morris did the really smart thing, what great leaders and great coaches do. He put those guys together. Make James Pearce Jr. feel a little bit more at home, feel a little bit more comfortable, and I think it's benefiting them so far. Here's what the head coach had to say. That was definitely something I suggested because they remind me they're a different position. Obviously, different body type, all that type of stuff. But the personalities, demeanors, Morris said, I remember AJ came in and was just a really serious rookie when I had him. And James is a really serious rookie. It's so important to have this kind of relationship, okay? Not just head coach to player, but player to player. When you come in after playing 3 years of college football, where you're the top dog on campus, everybody knows your name, everybody knows your face, then you'll go into a locker room with guys who are 15 years older than you at some points. Like, it's a really big difference. It's a really big step. And having a guy like A.J. Terrell, to kind of help you through that, and a guy for you to look at and say, hey, we're similar. And he's doing phenomenally in this league. It's great. You know, I hear reports of them yelling at each other on the practice field, all good things. Like, I love that James Pearce Jr. has found his guy. And he also talked about the kind of guy that he is. He said, that's the type of guy I am. Not really flamboyant. I just want to let the tape and everything else around me speak louder than all the words I say. At the end of the day, the guy just wants to play football. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I think that's all anybody could ever want. In this day and age, when there are so many distractions off the field, social media, the chase to live in this world, the money, the girls, the fame, the parties, everything. To have a guy in here who's a rookie, who is touted as one of the best in his class, to have a mindset of, I just want to play football. How lucky are we? How lucky are the Atlanta Falcons? Because you don't get that every single year. You just don't. And they took a big risk, like I've said before, trading away your first rounder next year. Get back in that first round. And so because of that, I just want to say thank you to every NFL team, especially all of the 25 or 24 that passed on him before that selection. Thank you so much for letting him fall to number 26. Thank you to the Los Angeles Rams for letting us trade back into the draft. And more than anything, thank you to James Pearce Jr. for being exactly who you are. Everything that Atlanta thought you were going to be. He's a beast. He's going to be awesome. What else is awesome is these Falcon shirts. You can get them at chatsports.com/Falcon sale. They're only $36. Let me tell you right now, Father's Day is coming up. It is in 2 or 3 days. And if you didn't know that, you're welcome for reminding you. If you want to get your dad a really awesome gift, your grandfather a really awesome gift, this is where you need to go. Just $36. Chatsports.com/Falcon sale. That's the link. You'll find it in the comments and description of today's video. And if you do that, you support us, you support the Falcons, and of course, you support our friends over at Fanatics. Make sure you guys like the video if you are excited for James Pearce to prove everybody wrong, because I know I am. So if you're just as pumped up as I am, go ahead and give me a thumbs up on today's video. We're about to get on out of here, but make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel. Again, we're trying to beat the Saints in our like battle in June. So if you hate them, like the video. And of course, if you hate them, subscribe.